college savings worksheet. So this is for Friday, November 6th. There's only a couple of each about the college savings because I think they've only asked it a couple of times on the STAR test, and there's only going to be 2 types of these. Okay, so the first one gives you a table. A student estimated that she needs $11,550 for tuition and fees for each year of college. She already has $6,200 in a savings account, blah, blah, blah. It says the projected value of the account in 6 years. You don't need to know that. It doesn't matter about the 6 years. That's kind of there to throw you off. The student wants to have enough money saved in 6 years. Again, you don't need to know that. To pay the tuition and fees for 4 years of college. That's what you need to know. So if it costs $11,550 for each year and she wants to see how much it costs for 4 years, we would have to multiply that by 4. So $11,550 times 4 is $46,200, and it says she already has $6,200. So that's a piece that she's not going to have to pay because she already has that. So we can subtract $6,200 from her total, which is just going to be $40,000. And now you're done with the math. Now you're just looking back up here, and there's 4 different scenarios. So we want to look at the total values and see which of these would cover the cost of her tuition. So these 3 technically would cover that $40,000. But if we're having to pay something off, don't you want to pay the lowest possible amount? You don't want to pay $10,000 more. That would be terrible. So the minimum amount would be this $43,930. So the monthly deposit would have to be $280. Number 2. So this is the second type of problem you're going to see. The total cost of attending a state university is $26,400 for the first year. A student's grandparents will pay a quarter. So a quarter, think of fourths of this cost. So we're going to have to divide the cost by 4. An academic scholarship will pay another $8,500. So the first thing I'm going to do is figure out how much the grandparents are going to pay. So the tuition divided by 4 gives me $6,600. And then a scholarship, where they just give you money to go towards your tuition, was $8,500. So together, I want to add those 2 up to see how much money she's going to get taken off of her tuition. Okay, so I get $15,100. Okay, so then I'm going to take the total cost for the year and subtract the money that she doesn't have to pay. So $26,400 minus $15,100. And I get $11,300. So that's what she actually has to pay. So the question asks, which amount is closest to the minimum that the students will need to save every month to pay off the remaining costs at the end of 12 months. So we want to divide that by 12. So that would be $941. Number 3, this is just like number 1. A student estimated that she needs $18,950 for tuition and fees for each year of college. She already has $2,700 in a savings account. The table shows the projected future. Yeah. Remember, we don't need to know any of that information. The student wants to have enough money saved in fees for 2 years of college. So how much would it cost for her total tuition? So, times 2. Then whatever we get, we need to subtract the money she already has. Number 4, same thing. Cost of attending a state university is $19,700 for the first year. A student's grandparents will pay half of this cost. So that means we're going to be dividing this number by 2. I'm going to go ahead and do that. 19,700 divided by 2 is 9,850. And then the athletic scholarship will pay another 5,000. Okay, so this is all the money we can take off of the cost of attending. So I'm going to add those two together, 9,850 plus 5,000. And I get 14,850, and I'm going to subtract that from the cost of tuition. And whatever I get here, since I want to see how much he needs to save every month, I'm going to divide it by 12. 5 and 6, you are solving. You're just solving for the variable. Oh, and on 7. Number 8, I think, was weird, so maybe on Schoology you can see the graph. When I went to print it out, it did not show up. But it's the same thing as number 8. I just couldn't see the graph. So on number 9, identify the point that satisfies both equations. It just means where do these two lines intersect. And so I can see that they cross right there in that point. Remember, you do x and y is how you read the coordinates. So it comes over to 5, and it doesn't go up or down. So 5, 0 is my point. Same thing on number 10. Do you see where they cross? There's an intersection right here. So the x value is -1, y was -5. The next few are function or not a function. Remember, with functions, we're only looking at the x values. So I'm going to erase or mark out all the y's and compare my x values. I have -8, -4, -1, 2, and -4. So remember, if we have any that repeat x values, it's not a function. So I have -4 and -4, so that would mean it's not a function. Same thing on 12. I don't need the y's because I'm only comparing x's. If you have any repeating, it's not a function. On the graphs, to determine if it's a function or not, if you draw a straight line through the image they gave you and it crosses your line more than once, it's not a function. The next few problems are asking about proportional or non-proportional. So different than functions, we're looking at the y value this time. So where the x on the table is 0, the y value is what we want to look at. Since it's also 0, that means it is proportional. If it was anything else besides 0, if it was a counting number, then it would be non-proportional. For equations, if there's only one number, there's no plus b, it's proportional. So on 16, there are 2 numbers. There's an extra, there's a b, so that means non-proportional. For a graph, if it's proportional or non-proportional, if it goes through the middle, so the origin 0, 0, then it's proportional. 18 is slope-intercept form. So first thing we want to look for is the b, the y-intercept. So the b in y equals mx plus b is +1, so +1. And I'm going to use this point, so 0, 1, and this point, 1, 3, and use my slope formula to figure out the slope. So 1 minus 3, 0 minus 1. Slope-intercept form on number 19 also. So y equals mx plus b. The b is the easiest thing to find. It's where the y, or where your slope crosses the y-axis. And on this one, it's at 5, +5. and use that point to help you find your slope. So that would be 0, 5. And this is the only other point I can see on here. It didn't print out very good. So maybe on your computer you can see a little bit better. So 5, negative 5.